Welcome to Shadowing English.
Listen, learn, and improve your English effortlessly. Speak like a native.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Shadowing English. Today we will be talking about a very famous book called Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. In this episode, I'm going to tell you the main ideas from every chapter, speaking slowly and clearly. To begin with, the English will be very straightforward. I will use very simple vocabulary. Then, gradually, it will become a little more challenging. In this way, you can learn and also gauge how much you understand by the end. This book is loved all over the world. It teaches us something incredibly important. Being intelligent isn't just about how quickly you can think or how many facts you can recall. It's also about how well you understand your own feelings and the feelings of others. Daniel Goleman says, "Our emotions, our feelings, are what guide our lives. They help us to build good relationships, to succeed at work, and to stay healthy. When we understand our feelings, we can live happier and more serene lives." So, please do listen until the end. You will discover new ideas, new words, and you will also feel your English language skills growing stronger. Now, take a deep breath, sit back, and enjoy. Chapter 1. What is emotional intelligence? So, this book is all about feelings. Daniel Goleman states that being clever isn't just about knowing things. It's also about understanding feelings, your own feelings, and the feelings of other people. Some people are gifted at maths or science. They can read quickly. They can remember countless facts. However, sometimes these individuals aren't happy. They get angry very easily. They struggle to work well with others. They have a strong intellect but a weak heart. Other people are different. They may not be the best at school, but they are kind. They listen attentively. They remain calm when times are tough. They possess something extremely important. They have emotional intelligence. So, what exactly is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence signifies being smart with feelings. It's not about textbooks or numbers. It's not about different languages. It's about using your heart and your brain in harmony. Daniel Goleman suggests there are 4 key elements to emotional intelligence. The first element is being aware of your own feelings. You can look inside and observe what's happening. You can articulate, "I feel happy," or "I feel sad." You might also say, "I feel angry," or "I feel nervous." When you put a name to your feeling, you begin to understand yourself. The second element is controlling your feelings. This means you're able to stay calm. You don't allow your anger to control you. You don't cry or shout when it's unhelpful to do so. You can take a deep breath. You can pause and wait. You can choose what course of action to take next. The third element is understanding the feelings of other people. You can tell when someone looks sad or tired. You can listen to their voice and understand how they are feeling. Perhaps they are quiet because they are shy. Maybe they are angry because they are anxious. You are able to care about their feelings. You can ask, "Are you all right?" This is what we call empathy. Empathy means feeling with another person. The fourth element is using feelings constructively. Feelings can help you to make good decisions. When you're happy, you learn more effectively. When you're nervous, you can prepare more thoroughly. When you're sad, you can ask for assistance. Emotionally intelligent people use feelings as tools, not as problems. These four elements work together. They help you to know yourself. They help you to understand others. They help you to live peacefully with those around you. Right then. So, why is emotional intelligence so important? Let's consider a simple story. You're learning English. You speak in class, but you forget a word. You can look inside and observe what's happening. You can articulate, "I feel happy," or "I feel sad." You might also say, "I feel angry," or "I feel nervous." When you put a name to your feeling, you begin to understand yourself. The second element is controlling your feelings. This means you're able to stay calm. You don't allow your anger to control you. You don't cry or shout when it's unhelpful to do so. You can take a deep breath. You can pause and wait. You can choose what course of action to take next. The third element is understanding the feelings of other people. You can tell when someone looks sad or tired. You can listen to their voice and understand how they are feeling. Perhaps they are quiet because they are shy. Maybe they are angry because they are anxious. You are able to care about their feelings. You can ask, "Are you all right?" This is what we call empathy. Empathy means feeling with another person. The fourth element is using feelings constructively. Feelings can help you to make good decisions. When you're happy, you learn more effectively. When you're nervous, you can prepare more thoroughly. When you're sad, you can ask for assistance. Emotionally intelligent people use feelings as tools, not as problems. These four elements work together. They help you to know yourself. They help you to understand others. They help you to live peacefully with those around you. Right then. So, why is emotional intelligence so important? Let's consider a simple story. You're learning English. You speak in class, but you forget a word. Some of your classmates giggle a little. You feel hot and embarrassed. Now, you have two options. Option 1. You think, "I'm bad at English. I can't do this." You stop speaking. You feel small and deflated. Your learning comes to a halt. Option 2. You think, "It's okay. I'm learning. Everyone makes mistakes." You smile. You continue speaking. And you finish your sentence. Which option do you think is better? Of course, the second one, right? This is emotional intelligence in action. You acknowledge your feeling, you calm yourself down, and you use that feeling to keep learning. When you employ emotional intelligence, you don't run away from problems. You confront them gently and patiently. You speak to yourself in a kind and encouraging manner. You take small steps forward. Now, in schools, teachers set tests. Tests reveal who can remember information and think quickly. That's indicative of a smart mind. But in life, we also need a smart heart. A smart heart helps us to work with people, to remain calm, and to be happy. Let's consider two students. Student 1 is very quick with grammar. And you finish your sentence. Which option do you think is better? Of course, the second one, right? This is emotional intelligence in action. You acknowledge your feeling, you calm yourself down, and you use that feeling to keep learning. When you employ emotional intelligence, you don't run away from problems. You confront them gently and patiently. You speak to yourself in a kind and encouraging manner. You take small steps forward. Now, in schools, teachers set tests. Tests reveal who can remember information and think quickly. That's indicative of a smart mind. But in life, we also need a smart heart. A smart heart helps us to work with people, to remain calm, and to be happy. Let's consider two students. Student 1 is very quick with grammar. Now, who is more successful? Well, probably student 2, because he uses emotional intelligence. He controls his feelings and keeps learning. So, Daniel Goleman argues that being clever, being intelligent, is good. But understanding your feelings is even more important. Emotional intelligence is useful in all walks of life, not just at school. At home, you can communicate calmly when your family disagree. You can listen to them and explain your ideas in a considerate way. At work, you can remain calm when things go wrong. If someone makes a mistake, you can speak politely, not shout. People will respect you and trust you. With friends, you can tell when they're feeling sad. You can say, "I'm here for you." You can say, "I'm sorry," when you hurt someone. You can forgive someone when they apologize to you. These small gestures make life run smoothly and contribute to happiness. Emotional intelligence is like oil in an engine. It helps everything to move with ease. Now, some people think that feelings are a sign of weakness. They say, "Don't be emotional." But Daniel Goleman asserts that emotions are not inherently bad. They are messages. They convey something important to you. When you feel afraid, it means you need to be cautious. When you feel sad, it means you've lost something important and you need comfort. When you feel angry, it means something feels unfair. When you feel happy, it means something good is happening. Feelings are part and parcel of being human. We can't suppress them, but we can listen to them. They are like colors in a painting. They make life beautiful and full of meaning. Now, even if you weren't taught about feelings at school, you can learn at any time. It's similar to learning English. You can start today. Here are 3 simple ways to do it. Notice your feelings every day. When you wake up, ask yourself, how do I feel today? When you go to bed, ask yourself, what did I feel today? What made me happy or sad? This simple habit helps you to know yourself better. Take a deep breath before you react. When something goes wrong, you drop your phone, or someone speaks rudely, stop. Breathe slowly. Count to 3, then think. This brief pause allows your brain to calm down. You can choose a better course of action and be kind to yourself and to others. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend. Say, "It's okay. I can learn from this." If someone else makes a mistake, remember that they are learning too. Kindness to yourself helps you to be kind to others. Each time you practice these small steps, your emotional intelligence grows stronger. Just like learning a language, it takes time and practice. Now, let's discuss the power of emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman has found something remarkable. People who can understand and control their feelings are typically happier and more successful. They can think clearly even when life is difficult. They are able to make good decisions. They can try again after failing. When you're calm, your brain functions more effectively. When you're angry or afraid, your brain becomes muddled. Let's look at another story. You're taking an English test. You forget a particular word. You start to panic. Your mind feels blank. You can't remember anything. That's fear overwhelming your brain. Now, imagine you pause for a moment. You breathe slowly. You say to yourself, "It's okay. I know this. I just need a second." Then, suddenly, you remember the word. It's the same brain, the same knowledge, but a different result. That is the power of emotional intelligence. Chapter 2. When smart people act foolishly. The word foolish means doing something unwise or silly, even when you know better. Daniel Goleman tells us something surprising. Many people assume that if a person is very clever, everything in life will be easy for them. They believe that high intelligence, which signifies strong thinking skills and a good memory, automatically leads to success, money, and happiness. But Goleman argues that this isn't necessarily true. Yes, being clever helps you to understand information and solve problems. But intelligence alone can't teach you how to live well or how to behave kindly. Sometimes, people with very high intelligence struggle to control their emotions. They may know a lot of facts, but still make poor choices because their feelings are too strong or too confused. A foolish person might speak without thinking, or act without calmness. So, when Goleman says smart people act foolishly, he means that intelligence doesn't always prevent people from doing unwise or stupid things. For example, imagine a scientist who can explain the universe but shouts angrily at his family every day. He understands physics, but he doesn't understand emotions. That's a kind of foolishness. Not because he's a bad person, but because he hasn't learnt to control his feelings. Some people can pass difficult exams but struggle to build strong relationships. They get angry easily, or they feel jealous of other people's success. They may be arrogant and say, "I know everything." That attitude makes teamwork difficult and friendship impossible. Attitude means your way of thinking and behaving. Daniel Goleman reminds us that life is full of emotions: disappointment, anger, fear, joy. If you can't manage those emotions, your intelligence becomes trapped. It can't help you because the emotional storm is too powerful. So, Goldman teaches us an important lesson. People who can manage their emotions can also handle failure. Failure means not succeeding at something. Maybe you tried to pass an exam and you didn't. Maybe you wanted a job and you didn't get it. Maybe you practiced speaking English, but you still made mistakes. Everyone fails sometimes. Failure is normal. It's part of life. But what happens after failure separates emotionally intelligent people from others. Some people feel angry or ashamed when they fail. They say, "I'm useless," or "I'll never try again." They give up quickly. Other people feel sad for a short time, but then they think, "What can I learn from this?" They use failure as a teacher. They understand that mistakes aren't the end. They're steps towards improvement. Let's return to our English example. You take a speaking test, and you forget half of what you wanted to say. You feel terrible. An ordinary reaction might be, "I'm bad at English," but an emotionally intelligent reaction would be, "Yeah, I made mistakes today, but next time I'll prepare better and stay calmer." That small difference in thinking changes everything. The second attitude, the second way of thinking, the second way of behaving, leads to growth. It keeps your heart open and your motivation alive. So Goldman says that failure doesn't break you when your emotions are both strong and gentle at the same time. Let me say that again. Failure doesn't break you when your emotions are both strong and gentle at the same time. So, every emotion is a message. Anger says something feels unfair. Fear says, "Be careful." Sadness says something important has changed. Joy says, "Keep going. This feels good." If you listen to the message, emotions can help you. If you ignore or fight them, they can hurt you. Now, when we grow older, we are expected to become more mature, which means calmer, wiser, and kinder. But age alone doesn't guarantee maturity. Some people remain emotional children their whole life. Others learn emotional control, even when they're young. Goldman explains that emotional intelligence is like a muscle. You can make it stronger through practice. You practice emotional maturity when you pause before replying to something that makes you angry, forgive someone instead of staying mad, smile even when the situation is difficult. Talk kindly to yourself when you fail. Every time you choose peace over anger, your emotional muscle grows stronger. Chapter 3: The Brain and Emotions. Daniel Goleman explains how our brain works when we experience emotions. He shows that our brain isn't one simple thing. It has different parts, and these parts work together, sometimes calmly and sometimes not so calmly. Some parts of the brain help us to think slowly and carefully. Other parts react very quickly when there's danger or surprise. When we understand how these parts work, we can understand why we feel what we feel and why we sometimes lose control. Daniel Goleman says that our brain has two important parts that work together. The first part is the emotional brain. This part feels quickly. The second part is the thinking brain. This part thinks carefully and slowly. These two parts have very different jobs. Let's learn about them using simple language. The emotional brain is small, but very powerful. It resides deep inside your head. Its job is to protect you. You can think of it like a little alarm or a guard dog inside your head. When something happens suddenly, a loud noise, a scary face, or a strong feeling, your emotional brain reacts very quickly. It doesn't stop to think. It just says, "Danger, be careful." Your body gets ready to move or run. Your hands may sweat. Your face may get red or hot. You don't decide to do these things. Your emotional brain does them automatically. It's trying to keep you safe. For example, you're walking down the road and a car comes too close. You jump back quickly without thinking. That's your emotional brain helping you. The emotional brain is important because it protects you, but sometimes it reacts too quickly, even when there's no real danger. Sometimes your emotional brain makes a mistake. It sends a danger signal even when everything is okay. Maybe someone says something you don't like, and suddenly you feel angry. Maybe you make a small mistake, and your body feels fear as if something terrible has happened. That means your emotional brain is working too fast. It's like a fire alarm that rings even when there's no fire. When this happens, you may say or do things you don't really mean. You might shout at a friend, slam the door, or send an angry message. Later, you feel sorry and think, "I wish I hadn't done that." Goldman calls this moment an emotional hijacking. That means your feelings take control of your brain for a short time. It's like your emotions are driving the car, and your thoughts are sitting quietly in the back seat. In that moment, you act from emotion, not from calm thinking. Right then. Now, let's talk about the second part of your brain, the thinking brain. The thinking brain is at the front of your head, just behind your forehead. This part helps you to think, plan, and make choices. If the emotional brain is like a fast alarm, the thinking brain is like a calm teacher and a wise friend. The thinking brain takes its time before it decides what to do. It helps you to ask yourself questions like, "Is this really a problem? What's the best way to respond? Should I speak or should I stay quiet? What will happen if I do this?" The thinking brain helps you to stop, think, and choose. For example, you're angry because someone interrupted you. Your emotional brain wants to shout, "Stop talking!" But your thinking brain says, "Wait, maybe they didn't mean to. Let's stay calm." If you listen to your thinking brain, you speak politely, and you keep the friendship intact. The best situation is when both parts of the brain work together. Your emotional brain and your thinking brain. Your emotional brain gives you energy and passion. Your thinking brain gives you control and patience. When they work together, you feel balanced. You can show your feelings, but also stay calm. You can care deeply, but still think clearly. This is what emotional intelligence really means. Feeling and thinking together. If only the emotional brain leads, you may act too quickly and make mistakes. If only the thinking brain leads, you may think too much and never act. A good balance makes you a complete person. Warm, but also wise. Now, when your emotional brain reacts, your body reacts too. They're connected, like a team. When you feel scared, your heart beats faster. Your body gets ready to move or run. Your mouth feels dry. These bodily changes are very old. They helped early humans to stay safe in the wild. But now, many things that make us scared aren't real dangers. We worry about exams, work, or people, not wild animals. Still, our body reacts in the same way. That's why emotional intelligence is important. It helps you to calm your body and to tell yourself, "It's okay, I'm safe." When you do that, your thinking brain wakes up again. You can solve problems calmly and wisely. Now, Daniel Goleman says that we can train our brain to stay calm. Here are some very simple ways to do it. First, breathe slowly and deeply. Take a big breath in and out. This tells your body, "I'm safe." Your emotional brain starts to relax. Then your thinking brain comes back to work. Second, pause before reacting. When something upsets you, count slowly. 1, 2, 3. This short pause gives your thinking brain time to take control. Third, name your feelings. Say quietly to yourself, "I feel angry," or "I feel nervous." When you name the feeling, it moves from your heart to your head. It becomes smaller and easier to manage. Fourth, use kind thoughts. Tell yourself gentle words like, "It's okay," or "I can handle this." These words calm your brain and make you stronger. So, what's the main idea of this chapter? Your brain has two parts: an emotional brain, which reacts quickly and protects you, and a thinking brain, which thinks carefully and helps you to decide. Sometimes your emotional brain takes over, but emotional intelligence helps you to bring balance back. When both parts work together, you can stay calm, think clearly, and act wisely, even when life feels difficult. Daniel Goleman says this balance is the secret of strong people. They're not cold or emotionless. They feel deeply, but they know how to use their feelings, not fight them. When your heart and your mind work together, you can make better decisions. You can build better friendships. You can live a calmer and happier life. This is the real beauty of emotional intelligence. Feeling and thinking together. Chapter 4. Self-awareness. Daniel Goleman now talks about something very important: self-awareness. Self-awareness means knowing what you feel and understanding why you feel that way. It's like turning on a small light inside your mind. When the light is on, you can see clearly what's happening in your heart. When the light is off, everything feels dark and confusing. Every person feels many things during the day: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, excitement, boredom. These feelings are normal, but sometimes we feel them without noticing. We only know that we're in a bad mood, and we don't know why. Self-awareness helps us to stop for a moment and ask, what exactly am I feeling right now? If you can name your feeling, if you can say, I feel nervous because there's a test tomorrow, or I feel lonely because my friend didn't call me, then you're already showing emotional intelligence. When you can name your emotion, you take the first step towards controlling it. If you don't understand your emotion, it can control you instead. You may feel angry but not know the reason. You might shout at someone, or stop talking, or cry. Later, you may think, why did I do that? That happens because your feelings were in charge. They were driving the car, and your thinking mind was asleep in the back seat. Self-awareness wakes the driver again. You take back the steering wheel of your mind. You can say, I'm not really angry at my friend. I'm tired and stressed from work. When you understand the reason, the feeling becomes smaller and easier to handle. Daniel Goleman says that when we name our emotions, they lose some of their power. The moment you say, I feel disappointed, or I feel worried, your brain starts to calm down. It's very different from shouting, crying, or breaking something. Words organize feelings. Silence lets them grow bigger. Let's imagine two people after a long, difficult day. Person A says nothing. They just feel angry and walk around unhappily. The anger stays inside and becomes heavier. Person B stops for a moment and says, I'm angry because the day was stressful and I need to rest. After saying it, they breathe more easily. The feeling becomes lighter. This simple act of naming feelings is a very important skill of self-awareness. Now, you can build self-awareness like a muscle. Little by little, every day. Try asking yourself 3 small questions. What am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling it? What can I do about it? You can ask these questions in the morning, in the middle of the day, and before you go to sleep. If you write your answers in a small notebook, you'll start to see patterns. You'll notice what usually makes you happy and what makes you tired or angry. This knowledge helps you to make better choices. Now, self-awareness also means noticing emotions before they become too strong. It's easier to calm a small wave than a big one. When you start to feel nervous, say to yourself, I'm beginning to feel nervous. I'll take a breath. If you wait until you're shaking, it will be much harder to calm down. The earlier you notice a feeling, the easier it is to guide it. For example, when a classmate interrupts you, you can smile and let it go. If you wait until you're very angry, you might shout or say something hurtful. So, emotional awareness is also emotional timing. Knowing when a feeling starts. Your body gives you clues about your emotions. Sometimes, your body knows before your mind does. When you're angry, maybe your shoulders feel tight. When you're nervous, your stomach feels strange. When you're sad, your body feels heavy. When you're happy, your body feels light. Try to listen to these signals. They're part of self-awareness too. You can say, "My shoulders are tight. Maybe I'm angry." Or, "My stomach hurts. Maybe I'm anxious, worried." Once you become aware of this, you can take a deep breath or stretch your muscles, aiding the emotion to dissipate. Everyone possesses an internal monologue, a voice inside their head. This voice articulates the words we direct towards ourselves. This inner voice can be either supportive and kind or critical and unkind. If you were to fail an exam, would your immediate reaction be to declare, "I'm stupid"? Or would you instead reassure yourself with, "It's okay, I will try again"? Self-awareness empowers you to clearly hear that inner voice and to modify it if it's communicating negative messages. Therefore, the next time you catch yourself uttering a harsh statement, such as, "I'll never learn English," pause for a moment and consider, would I ever say this to my best friend? If the answer is no, then you shouldn't subject yourself to such negativity either. Speak kindly and compassionately to your own heart. Your words wield immense power, even when they are unspoken. Goleman identifies self-awareness as the very foundation of emotional intelligence. A foundation serves as the base of a building, the component upon which everything else is supported. Without self-awareness, you cannot effectively manage your emotions, simply because you lack a fundamental understanding of what they are. Moreover, you cannot fully comprehend the emotions of others if you remain oblivious to your own. And you certainly cannot utilize emotions wisely if you are unable to perceive them with clarity. Consequently, this initial step of self-knowledge forms the bedrock upon which all other aspects are built. It represents the fundamental foundation of everything else. Allow me to provide a few examples to illustrate this point more clearly. Consider this scenario. You experience a surge of anger, but you are uncertain of the reason behind it. After a moment of introspection, you realize that your anger is not actually directed towards the task itself. Rather, you are feeling tired and hungry. You decide to take a short break, consume a snack, and the anger gradually subsides. It dissipates completely. In a second example, a friend fails to respond to your message. You feel a sense of hurt. Later, you identify the underlying thought. They don't care about me. You pause and reframe your perspective, thinking, perhaps they are simply busy. I will refrain from making any judgments until I have more information. The feeling of hurt diminishes in intensity. In a third example, a member of your family offers you criticism. You experience feelings of sadness and withdrawal. You ask yourself, why am I feeling so sad? You come to the realization that your sadness is not solely attributable to their words. You were already feeling stressed, and their comment simply exacerbated the pressure. Now that you have identified the root cause of your sadness, you can either communicate your feelings calmly or dedicate some time to relaxation and self-care. In every situation, self-awareness empowers you to make a conscious choice for peace rather than impulsive reaction. Self-awareness grants you the power of choice. Instead of passively existing as a passenger on a bus, swayed by every passing emotion, you transform into the driver, possessing the knowledge and control to navigate your own course. When you possess a comprehensive understanding of your feelings, you are empowered to take appropriate care of them. You can rest when you are feeling fatigued. You can engage in conversation when you are feeling sad. You can practice deep breathing when you are feeling nervous. You can celebrate when you are feeling proud. You no longer engage in conflict with your emotions. Instead, you listen attentively to them. They evolve into allies rather than adversaries. Goleman asserts, when you know yourself, you can guide yourself. This encapsulates the quiet, yet profound, secret of emotional intelligence. Chapter 5. Self-control. Self-control entails managing your emotions, rather than allowing them to dictate your actions. It is akin to holding the steering wheel of a car. The car symbolizes your emotions, potent and brimming with energy. If you relinquish control of the wheel, a crash is inevitable. However, if you grip it firmly, yet with wisdom and gentleness, it possesses the potential to transport you to any destination. We all experience feelings of anger, fear, or upset at times. This is a natural human experience. However, individuals with heightened emotional intelligence cultivate the ability to pause and reflect before reacting impulsively. Chapter 6. Motivation. Motivation embodies the inner drive and determination to persevere, even when faced with adversity. It is the inner fire that urges you, don't stop. Goleman contends that individuals with strong emotional intelligence are not governed by fleeting moods. They possess the capacity to generate motivation, even when they lack the immediate inclination to work. They consciously ask themselves, why am I undertaking this task? This why imbues their actions with meaning and purpose. For example, perhaps you aspire to learn English, to facilitate travel, to secure a new job, or to connect with individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds. When you recall the underlying reason, you experience a resurgence of strength and determination. Motivation flourishes from small victories and achievements. When you successfully complete a chapter, when you fully comprehend a new word, when you can confidently watch a short English video without relying on subtitles, celebrate these milestones. Commend yourself with, "Good job." That positive affirmation transforms into renewed energy for the next endeavor. Daniel Goleman reminds us that emotions and motivation are intrinsically linked. When we approach learning with feelings of hope and curiosity, our rate of comprehension accelerates. Conversely, when we are burdened by feelings of boredom or hopelessness, our learning pace decelerates. Therefore, nurture your mood as you would cultivate a plant, provide it with light, and nurture it with small successes, and it will undoubtedly flourish. Motivation is not a secret gift bestowed upon a select few. It is a quality that you actively cultivate each day through patience, a sense of purpose, and kindness towards yourself. Chapter 7. Empathy. Empathy signifies the ability to comprehend the feelings of another individual. It is the capacity to observe someone and intuitively sense what they might be experiencing internally. Daniel Goleman asserts that empathy constitutes the very heart of emotional intelligence because it fosters connection between people. When you grasp the emotions of others, you can communicate with kindness and compassion rather than resorting to judgment. Consider this scenario. A friend appears withdrawn and quiet during class. You could simply continue studying, or you could proactively ask, "Are you okay? You seem a little tired." Perhaps they will smile and respond, "Yes, I'm just having a bad day." In that simple moment, you have demonstrated empathy. Empathy also assumes a crucial role in language learning. When you converse in English with someone from another country, remember that they may also be experiencing nervousness. If you observe that they are struggling to find a particular word, refrain from laughing or correcting them too hastily. Instead, patiently wait and offer gentle assistance. For example, if a person says, "I go yesterday," you can respond with a warm smile and kindly say, "Oh, you mean I went yesterday." That small act of kindness builds confidence and strengthens the bond of friendship. Empathy encompasses listening attentively, observing carefully, and caring genuinely. It cultivates a sense of safety and security, and this safety unlocks hearts and minds. Now, let's shift our focus to social skills. Social skills are the mechanisms through which we interact and connect with others. Individuals possessing strong social skills demonstrate proficiency in listening, speaking politely, and resolving conflicts calmly. Goldman elucidates that social skills are not synonymous with excessive talking. Rather, they are about cultivating and maintaining healthy relationships. It is reflected in the way you express gratitude, offer apologies, or demonstrate understanding. It is about fostering collaboration rather than competition. Let's revisit the scenario of an English classroom. Two students are engaged in a speaking task. One student actively listens while the other speaks. They alternate turns, smile encouragingly, and assist each other in finding the appropriate words. They inevitably make mistakes, but they persevere with mutual respect. This embodies social skill in action. Strong social skills contribute to making teamwork enjoyable and productive. In the workplace, they enable you to effectively manage customer interactions. Within the home, they foster a peaceful family environment. In friendships, they cultivate trust and loyalty. Goldman states that social skill is the visible manifestation of emotional intelligence. Visible implies easily perceptible. It is the point at which empathy, self-control, and self-awareness converge. All right, let's consolidate what we have learned from this book. Emotional intelligence encompasses knowing your own feelings, managing your emotions effectively, maintaining motivation, understanding the emotions of others, and building positive relationships. When you are studying English or navigating the challenges of life, emotional intelligence will serve as a steadfast and quiet companion. It will remind you to exercise patience, to forgive yourself for your imperfections, and to maintain forward momentum with unwavering hope. Daniel Goleman's book teaches us that true intelligence resides not solely within the realm of the mind, but also profoundly within the depths of the heart. Thank you sincerely for listening to another episode of Shadowing English. I'm Tom, and until next time, stay calm, stay kind, and keep growing both in English and in emotional intelligence. Bye for now.